Let's now talk about the last source of innovation inside an area you actually know, and that's changes in industry and market structures. Here, we need to widen our focus a bit. In particular, we need to look at the industry as a whole and ask if it seems to be experiencing rapid change. We'll talk much more about this later in the course, but if an industry is going through rapid change, there will be an opportunity for strategic innovation. Firms that don't change and stubbornly stick to old strategies will fail, and the firms that come up with new strategic identities will come out ahead. With that in mind, what kinds of industry change should we be looking for? The first and easiest to find is rapid growth. Think about the smartphone explosion that started when Apple first came out with the iPhone. They were seeing 80% growth year over year, sometimes higher. This was clearly an opportunity for innovation, as we've seen as other smartphone providers have entered the market, fundamentally changing the industry structure. Some of the entrants have carved themselves a niche through innovative products. Some have created products as simple as cases and accessories that have morphed into huge businesses. Others have gained market share through strategies focused on specific customer segments, which we'll again talk much more about later. The key to all these is that when an industry is growing significantly faster than the economy or the population, fundamental changes are occurring. And we know that anytime there's change, we'll be able to find innovative opportunities. The second kind of industry change we should look for is the maturation of a high-growth industry. Once an industry has gone through a significant growth cycle and has roughly doubled its size, there's a very strong likelihood that strategies that were originally appropriate to take advantage of the high-growth environment are no longer relevant. Once a market has sustained a high-growth period and is starting to mature, we need to look for these innovative strategies that can disrupt the market. We should especially be on the lookout for industry leaders who have seemingly not changed their strategies, even though the market dictates they do so. Another industry change which can lead to innovation is the convergence of technologies that were previously separate. In other words, one line of technology had one purpose, another line had another. Eventually, the uses of the technologies overlap and a new innovative opportunity is created. An example of this can be seen in digital music, where the capabilities of software and hardware collided to produce a lucrative opportunity. Most digital music is stored as an MP3 file. What's really interesting about the history of this industry is that the MP3 file format was originally standardized way back in 1991. We had the technology for the storage size of MP3 players since that point. But portable MP3 players didn't come until much later. They were first coming, I think, around 1998 with the iPod, followed in 2001. What happened is that there was a separate technology necessary for this industry to explode. In particular, computers needed to get smaller and more capable of handling vibrations. As the computer industry caught up with the requirements of producing high-quality music from an existing file format, the industry exploded with the advent of the MP3 player, the iPad, and services such as Spotify and Pandora. Entrepreneurs need to keep an eye on developing technologies, especially when they converge with another technology and pave the way for a revolutionary new product. The last major market change Drucker discusses is a change in the underlying business model of an industry. If the fundamental nature of an industry is drastically changing, there will be huge opportunities for innovation. Consider the newspaper industry over the last 20 years. A few years ago, I was at the Huffington Post talking to a group of young blog editors about the future of journalism and the newspaper industry in general. One of them said to me, There's just one trouble with the newspaper. When I pushed her for what that trouble might be, she said, "There's no news in the newspaper." I paused for a minute and asked her, "Exactly what do you mean?" She said, "When's the last time you read something in the newspaper that you didn't already know?" While this is potentially a big problem if you own a newspaper, it's exactly the type of industry change that's a vibrant source of innovation. Arianna Huffington recognized the nature of how individuals got news was fundamentally changing, and she created the Huffington Post, which is entirely online and incorporated thousands of independent blog contributors. As entrepreneurs, we need to look for industries that are going through a rapid identity change and find the opportunities that exist because of that change.